what do we have here? Lori Lightfoot kicking and screaming on her way out the door, displaying what a lot of black people in the black community have been displaying over the years. So much love for Democrats, conservative derangement syndromes embodied by Trump derangement syndrome. And she couldn't wait to blame Trump once again. She always has an excuse. Now she has an excuse why she lost. Well, all the outside people, the outside voices and people talking, that's why I lost. And all those conservative voices like Tucker Carlson's and the Donald Trumps of the world, that's why I won. That's why I really lost. So it couldn't possibly be because you literally ran that city into the ground. It was already rough as it stood before you even got there. But it descended into chaos under your watch and got progressively worse, pun intended. Under your watch, Lori Lightfoot, you want to brag about all the things you've done. When you were in office, what have you done? What did you do? Other than go tit for tat with reporters that you don't like or necessarily agree with. You would rather have this little petty rivalry back and forth with reporters and then, depending on who they are, banning them from any future press conferences that you might be at. All because you don't want to answer the hard questions. And they were legitimate questions. I forget the reporter's name, but he had his press pass revoked by you. Because you didn't want to answer the hard questions. The questions that concerning law-abiding citizens, tax-paying citizens, also would like to know the answer to. But you spent your whole time ducking and dodging and sidestepping those answers and then throwing hissy fits whenever somebody approaches you with a legitimate hard question that needs to be answered. People are concerned about it. People are concerned about the crime. People are concerned about things that's going on, the safety of regular everyday people walking around the streets of Chicago. These are very important concerns that you spent your tenure as mayor avoiding. And now, as you're on your way out the door, you want to throw rocks in the glass house. You want to blame it all on outside voices, outside perspectives. The Tucker Carlsons of the world, and people like that, and the things they say, and they don't understand and know Chicago. Well, guess what, Lori? I'm from Chicago, and I've seen firsthand what you did to that city. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. You can't piss on me and say that it's raining. I know the truth. So, for the people out there who are out-of-towners, who see Chicago from a distance, who've never visited, let alone ever lived in Chicago, let alone ever lived around Chicago, in the Chicagoland area as a whole, those who know absolutely nothing about the state of Illinois. They have their certain perspectives based off of national coverage and what they've seen on the news. But there are quite a few of us who are actually, some of us still live in Chicago, some of us have relatives who still live in Chicago, some of us used to live in Chicago, Chicagoland, Greaterland area. So we know that you're a habitual liar and you're a fraud. And we're glad you're on your way out the door. Now, granted, people who voted still dropped the ball because they voted in someone who's even softer on crime than you were. And they don't realize that's not going to solve the problem. It's going to maintain the free falls going on. And as a result, it's going to become worse, 10 times worse. Every year it's going to get worse. And the laws they're passing, there's a reason that law that went into effect January 1st, 2023, there's a reason it was referred to as the Purge Law. Because it basically gives more rights to the criminals than the law-abiding citizens. The people who pay tax dollars, of which fund the court system, of which these same criminals are being coddled and they're able to take advantage of it. It's ironic how that whole cycle of madness is being held and positioned by these democratic left-leaning politicians that have been placed in power in that city, in that state. There's a reason why the last few governors of the state of Illinois went to prison. Regarding the state of Illinois, that is the macro of the micro. Micro being the city of Chicago. Same corruption, same let's give the criminals all the rights, because we can basically live off the tax income of the law-abiding citizens while simultaneously making them the prey of the criminals. As a result, we can create this mass hypnosis of fear, and what happens with fear, we can tag that fear to our campaign, whatever office we tend to run for, and that's how we remain in power. This is the democratic way of thinking in cities like Chicago. They create their own political ecosystem in order to stay in power. That's really all it's about. They could care less about the safety of the people in that city. They just want your vote. This is why black people, especially a lot of you black women who tend to vote Democratic just because of the name Democratic. Oh, he's a Democrat, I'm going to vote for him. You know nothing about these people because you don't even bother to sit down somewhere and actually look up these people's history. What are the things that they have implemented and put into place? What are the things that these people had the power to make happen when they were in positions of power? That's how you know what they're going to do when they get in office and they achieve more power. It'll be more of what they have done to get to where they're at in the first place. But y'all don't bother to even research that. Like Jay-Z told y'all, yo, Google is your friend, bruh. Since y'all like to call everybody bruh nowadays, that's another story. But hey, Google's your friend. You don't have a computer at home, you got a computer in your pocket, I bet you. Everybody got a smartphone. You got search engines on that smartphone. You can easily find out who these people are before you vote for them. Long gone are the days where you actually had to go to the library because you didn't have a computer at home, and they had computers there. They had books there where you could research whatever you needed to find out. Now you have a computer in your pocket, aka the smartphone, even if you don't have a desktop at home. So you have access to find out who these people actually are before you vote for them. So I don't want to hear it. And now there's an uproar in Chicago because illegal immigrants are being shipped in and being housed in South Shore apartments, of which tax dollars pay for the maintenance of those apartments and such. And illegal immigrants can be housed there, but homeless black people cannot. Ironically, it's funny how that works. But this is what you guys voted for. This is what you asked for. You're getting what you begged for. You wanted Democratic-controlled Congress, Senate. If it was up to you, the House, the Senate, presidency, it would all be Democratic if it was up to you. But it's not completely under the control of Democrats, and you can still see how much carnage is being left in the streets of Chicago because of Democratic policies, of which you choose to ignore when it comes time to vote. So I don't want to hear all the whining and bickering and boo-hooing Lori Lightfoot. Let the door hit you in the ass on your way out. Because you are as much to blame for the dissension of the city of Chicago as anyone. The buck stops with you. You's the head honcho. You's the mayor. There's a whole lot of things you could have done when you were holding that seat, but you chose not to. It was more important protecting the democratic ecosystem to garner more future votes as you create an environment of fear that will force people to do brainwashing tactics to continue to vote you guys in. Not only that, contributing to job loss in the city of Chicago, and the state of Illinois as a whole. And what will be the end result of that? You're strong arming and forcing people into a position to where they won't have a choice but to rely on daddy government welfare in order to survive. Then as you arrive on their doorstep as the wolf in sheep's clothing, you extend your hand. Hey, don't worry about it. I'll give you some money to take care of yourself and your family. Just vote for me. Just vote Democratic. We'll look out for you. We have your best interests in mind. Your best interests at heart. The Democratic Party definitely has it. And in times of extreme financial strife and stress, any beacon of light that people think they're seeing, they're gonna go for it. They're gonna be like, okay, I'll vote for you, not knowing they're really voting for the harbinger of death, standing right on their doorstep. See, some of us see the games that you're playing, Miss Lori Lightfoot, you and your cronies. We see the games that the Democrats play. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were great at it. They were masterful at masking what they were really, truly doing. Obama was a chip off of that block. See, he wasn't hardly into his second term before a lot of black men started seeing through him. Seeing through him, the Democratic Party, your whole plan to garner more votes and maintain power in a stranglehold, not only on Chicago, but all liberal cities that fall under that umbrella. It didn't take long at all. We started to see right through that nonsense. But I just want to get on here right quick and talk about the nonsense that former disgraced mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, and her whining and complaining and it's look across the aisle, it's the Tucker Carlson's fault and it's the Donald Trump's fault that this is going on. Instead of looking in the mirror and placing the blame where it truly belongs, on the foot of Lori Lightfoot. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. If you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. Show support by hitting up that Cash App, $ Cobra Clutch 357. That being said, I'm out.